up, guys? Texas Toy Addict here with another look at some of the figures we got on this week. Today we are looking at the G.I. Joe Classified Retro Cobra Viper. Now this guy just was released recently with Dr. Mindbender and Rock and Roll, and I have to say, out of the bunch, this is probably one of the best ones. And I'm not just saying that because of the simple fact that I love the Viper. He is one of my favorite troop builders or troopers in the line, but also the fact that there's a lot of different improvements and things done to this figure that were improved from the classified Cobra Island version. And we're going to get into more detail a little bit later about that. But as you can see here, it comes with this retro style blister card with the figure in the front, showing all the stuff it comes with, and then this artwork kind of blast from the past. Now it's a cool piece of him, but I feel like it's just me. His head looks just a little bit gigantic, but it does give you that retro feel, and that's one thing that I do like about these. It just gives you that vibe, and I think that's what a lot of collectors wanted and feel like. I said this many times in my retro reviews. This is basically what a lot of people wanted when they said G.I. Joe G.I. Joe to 6-inch line. So it's pretty cool that we're finally getting it. Still, what's retro, what's not retro, we don't know. We have no idea. So of course, I'm loving G.I. Joe Classified. I'm not gonna stop collecting this year. We got the Yojo June coming up next. Well, it's on the 4th next week. So, and then of course we got the Comic-Con, and we just got the announcement that the Rattlers coming at the end of June, which is very exciting. I cannot wait to unbox and review that when it comes up. But anyway, I'm getting a little far on myself. Let's go ahead and look at the back of this packaging. It is a thick card back, which is great. So this is a very, very pristine. This is probably the one I'm gonna keep on card because, like I said, I stopped collecting all the mint on cards for G.I. Joe Classified, just the retro. So definitely gonna keep this one because it's beautiful. But anyway, you got the big old bio card, file card. Like I said, it's giving you that remnants of the back in the day. Problem is, for me, all this language is on here, but it's all good. Hasbro's gonna stretch out as much as they can, so there's a lot of people that love these figures. So of course overseas, but yeah, the small he basically, the Cobra Viper is his role. He is Cobra Infantry, so he's a backbone of the Cobra Legions. They're highly motivated, superbly trained, and formidable equipped. If you want to get anywhere in Cobra, you start at the bottom as a Viper. Cobra doesn't reward success with parades and medals. They offer material with power and the outlet for terrible urges. So yeah, interesting. Like I said, great. You got the cross cell on the bottom. I kind of wish the cross cell had like all of them already, like showing every single retro figure. That would have been pretty cool. But, anyway, that's all, no worries about that. But all right, let's go and get this guy out of the packaging and get a closer look at the G.I. Joe Retro Cobra Viper from the Classified series. All right, here is the Viper out of the packaging, looking pretty cool. I'm loving, I always love this, the way the figure has been done, even since the original. I just love the way the blues, the reds, all that looks, and the blacks just looks really, really cool. Of course, this is a different version than I, have compared to the Cobra Island version. And like I said, in a little bit, we will get some comparisons on that. But let's go ahead and get our head to toe on this guy. Now, as you can see, he does have that visor, and it does look like the same head sculpt from the Cobra Island version. So they really didn't change much on that. It would have been really cool if they would have done VAC metal on this head sculpt, like Cobra Commander. I think that would have been really, really cool. Would have been a hell of a nice touch, just to make it more, a lot more, pop out more. But other than that, I mean, you can get one of those metallic pins and go over if you like. I don't know, maybe I would do that. I don't know, I'm kind of nervous I might mess it up, especially since there's like a little bit on the bottom there of silver, so I don't want to get on the neck. But let's go ahead and look down to the vest. Now the vest is basically all brand new. So as you can see, you got the grenades here, and then these pads over it with the little pockets, you know. So yeah, I have to admit I did cheat. I did get this figure in yesterday and opened it. Because I got a bunch of them. I got 4 total, and I was playing around with it, looking at it and comparing it. So, like I said, when we get the other one out, you'll see everything. The nice smooth back here, and then going down on the arms, it looks like it's a different figure. I'm not too sure who. Maybe Ricondo. I don't know. Maybe. Because he does have the sleeveless thing. So this might be Ricondo's arm, not too sure. But as you can see, his arm, his elbow, and his forearm are, exposed. And then he has this new arm pad or gauntlet. So, just basically following along with these lines on here. So, and then another new thing on this one is that the belt is movable. On the original Cobra Island version, it was attached. So this moves, and it moves around. And also the holster for the gun is now back here. So that's also a big difference thing. As you remember, Cobra Island had the holster right here of the gun, so now it's back here. So it's really, really cool. And actually you can even see the little light that they come with, which are pretty cool if this was actually, came with it also. But, it's attached on there, the little pouch. Now looking down to the pants, these are also different, like I said, because, they're the pouches on the side. I'm not sure which legs these are for, but this is different on this Viper. Got some different knee pads also, looking really cool. And then you got these cool boots that actually speak out military. Now, these are pinless, so, it is double jointed. So you basically can move the hands a lot. And then, of course, the legs are also double jointed. So you get that pose and stuff like that, what you want to do. So it's really, really cool. Like I said, he is definitely an upgrade from the Cobra Island version. But like I said, we'll look in just a second. So let's look at a little accessory he comes with. He does come with actually a lot of stuff. First and foremost, I'm very surprised by this, but he does come with different hands. Now, of course, he has the regular standard gun gripping hands, but he now comes with some fists. So hand-to-hand combat with other GI Joes, which is pretty interesting. He comes with this, I'd say this would be the Cobra Commander hand, where he's gonna hold something. Not sure why the Viper has this. Maybe I can't. And then also comes with Cobra Commander's pointing hand too, which is interesting. I think, like I said, this is interesting because I never really thought I would need this, but that's interesting, right? He can pointing at you. He does come with his standard goggles, which are, I guess the lens are more like a charcoal gray, and they seem a lot more bendier. So, and then he comes with this automatic rifle gun. Now I know I've seen this before. I think they came with one of the, if I'm not mistaken, this one came with the 3-pack of the Vipers. And you got that addition of the brown onto the gun there. So, and then he comes with a pistol with the brown handle. So unlike the Cobra Island version, that one had the kind of like the plasma little pew pew guns, and this is basically more realistic, which is cool. Then he comes with this backpack, and I believe this backpack is also from Ricondo. So the backpack is a little different than I thought it would be, considering this is retro. As you remember back in the retro days, if you do remember, it was a big gray blocky backpack. So they decided with this. which is cool. I think it would have been a little bit cool if they made it gray though, to match, you know, some of the retro, but that's not terrible. And then you got this rifle, which I've also seen before. I've probably seen it with, and I mean, I forget which character had it, but you know, this is basically a little bit more reminiscent of the rifle that he came with back in the day. And then you got the Uzi clip that comes out. So be careful with this because it gets kind of loose. So yeah, let's go ahead and do a comparison time. I'm gonna go grab a Viper real quick, and let's do the Cobra Island Viper real quick, or maybe also the Python Patrol Island one too, also, just to get a real quick comparison time. All right, let's go ahead and get the Cobra Island version out to do some comparisons on it. Here is the Cobra Island version. And of course, you can definitely see there's a lot of differences in this version. And the same thing happened, I believe, with Cobra Trooper. The same thing. They did a lot of different, you know, updates. And that one, to me, was pretty good. But this one, actually, for me, it seems better. Because I love the Cobra Island version. I remember the drama and craziness I had to go through to get him. So for me, like, it's always gonna be etched in my mind of remembering, you know, trying to get him when I went to Target, and they had put him on the shelf early the day before, I think. I went, another collector was there, we got 3 each, and we're about to take off, and it got street dated, and then, you know, of course, the cashier was so sweet. She was like, I'll hold these for you tomorrow. Just, you know, they'll be in customer service. You can pick them up. And then here comes the manager, just this rowdy Karen lady, and saying to me, nope. You're going to have to, we're going to have to put them back, and you got to come back tomorrow and get them. And then I remember I came back the next day. There was a line of people, and I was only able to grab one, in which I still have that one, you know, and, you know, I still have it carded, but other than that, I just remember that. So that's one thing about this I'm going to remember. But luckily, I don't have to go through that anymore because I can just order them on Amazon. But anyway, as you can see, there's a lot of differences here. There's a darker, you know, of course, a darker navy blue on this figure here. Like I said, the face sculpts are basically the same. Of course, the paint's different on. There's the red here on him. But it is the same head sculpt and everything. So that's one thing. Now the goggles are also the same, except for I think these goggles are like a little bit more easier to put on compared to the ones that came with this one. I remember these were hard and they would break. And then also too, let's just move this scarf out of the way. I mean, even like, look at the whole vest is different. Like this one would basically you zip down or tie down in the front. This one would look like a Velcro thing. We overlap it. But yeah, I mean, everything's different. This is more classic to the original where you have the grenades there. And these look like, probably like smoke grenades or something. But yeah, I mean, everything on the vest is completely different. This is a all new thing, you know. And then, like I said, this, the belt, utility belt here, you can move it, you know, it's detached. And here, it's along with that. So, yeah, I mean, I got complete differences. And then, of course, the legs are, you know, of course, not the same. Like I said, this one has a holster here, while opposed to the holster is on here, which I think is better. And then, of course, the knee pads and boots are completely different. So, yeah, I mean, this is definitely, compared to the other retro figures, you know, this is probably the most, I think, improved and changed in terms of tooling, in terms of using different parts, new parts. I mean, this is completely different. Like I know that the Turbo Trooper used the same body, but this one is completely different. And like I said, of course, on the arms, you know, he looks a little bit more muscular on this on the new one. And you have the gauntlets are different. You got the black and the red here, and this is all red. And you know, I remember trying to take this off was a pain in the butt. I could never do it, so I never done it. But with this one, you know, you just pop off and it comes off easily if you wanted to do that. So really, really cool. Like I said, I'm really, really liking this version a lot. Like I still love my Cobra Island version. Got to debate if I want to sell some of them. I think I have 12 of them, so I think I might want to get offload of these and get some more of these probably. Another thing that I feel I want to talk about is the backpacks. Like, I like this backpack. I think this backpack is really cool, and I think they should have just kept it, or maybe just updated it a little bit. At least keep the Cobra signal on there. Because this one, like I said, it's just basic, you know, it's not very, like I said, it's just a repaint of the other backpacks that we got with, like I said, Rakondo, and I think there was one more other character that had the same backpack. But, you know, I guess they had to, since they had the retooling and all this stuff, I guess they just changed it. We'll use this money for, we'll save the money on the backpack. But like I said, this would have been pretty cool if we got this version. And this also holds a question of, and then of course the handkerchief. Yeah, this does not come with a handkerchief. In a sense, I'm kind of glad it doesn't, because in the original one, it never did. This was a whole new thing for Cobra Island. So it does match this one, right? Because the Cobra signal is down here on the side, and you can put this on here. But of course, if you were to put this on here, you know, it still goes, right? But it covers that. And I don't like that. So we're just gonna, you know, I'm okay with the Cobra Islands keeping the handkerchiefs, you know, on their neck. If I can get it on there. But yeah, another thing that I also found, you know, this is a little sticky tack that I put the goggles on to keep it holding, you know, so that helps a lot. But I think on this I won't need it. Another thing that I also think is interesting, if real quick, is are they gonna redo the Python Patrol trooper, you know, because of all the new tooling and everything? Probably not, but you know, I don't know if they'll get to the Python Patrol or any other figures to do, but I mean, this would be cool in these colors, but you know, I don't know, probably not. All right, so let's get this guy on my turntable and get my final thoughts on the retro G.I. Joe Classified Viper figure. All right, here are my final thoughts on the G.I. Joe Classified Retro Viper figure from Hasbro. Now, all I can say, boys and girls, this one is definitely a must-have if you do not have the Viper in your army or in your possession. This is the one to grab. I still love the Cobra Island version, but this one has jumped leaps and bounds to make it different. First off, he's pinless, which to me, I don't really care, but you can tell on this. And this is something that I think is also getting. They do retooling. They done different parts. I mean, the vest is completely different. You got the belt separated. You can move. You got that harness and the gun in the back of the belt, which is pretty cool. Of course, the legs are different, and those boots, I mean, those boots look like army boots. Nothing against the other one, but this one just, it's just awesome. You got also removable hands, the goggles, which I always thought was weird that they would have goggles on a helmet, are easy to put on. I mean, the colors, I mean, there's just so much to say that, you know, it's crazy that they actually improved the Viper and made it better. Like, not saying I'm going to replace all my Vipers with this. I'm probably going to still keep some, you know, probably sell a few, just only because I don't think I need 12 anymore. I can go down to maybe 6 or whatever, and add 6 more of these. But the thing is that, you know, this one is just so good. It's just so great. It's just, like I said, like, I've always been back and forth with retro, you know. To me, the worst retro for me would be the Baroness. I think they really need to redo that Baroness, only because I said the holes in her head, I thought that was crazy. But also, you know, the eel was not much of an improvement. This one is completely different in so many ways. Like I said, the colors between everything. So you definitely have to get this one. I also want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. I've reached my, it's slowly getting up there. I got 400 subscribers. I know it's not 4,000 or 400,000 or whatever, but it's getting there slowly. I just want to thank everyone. Just keep on making videos and making things fun and entertaining for you guys. I do want to add more content soon, different things. If we get to 500, I can definitely do a live at the San Diego Comic-Con. So share, subscribe, let people know. I think it'd be pretty cool to do that. We got some more reviews coming in. I've actually got 2 figures that I'm getting ahead of schedule, which is great. So hopefully you get to see those very soon. I'm not going to say their names, but you'll see them soon. But anyway, thank you for your support. Let's get it up to 500. Let's get to 5,000. Come on, guys. We can do this. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you later. Cobra!
Ladies and gentlemen.
Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.